Now listen up.
Because Insights EDU 2025 is coming, and this is the conference you don't want to miss. Meet us February 12th through 14th in New Orleans for one of our favorite higher education marketing and enrollment management events of the year. Imagine 3 days packed with actionable insights and the latest innovations in higher ed. We're talking top industry experts, real-world case studies, and hands-on workshops designed to help you grow your programs, boost engagement, and elevate your student experience. This is your chance to hear the latest higher ed trends from speakers at Google, Reddit, Meta, MIQ Digital, and schools across the country. Mark your calendars, get your team, and get ready to welcome the era of the modern learner at Insights EDU 2025. Register now at insightsedu.com and secure your spot. We'll see you there.
Attention.
Registration is now open for the Middle States Commission on Higher Education 2024 Annual Conference, Protecting the Future, Champions for Higher Education, December 11th through 13th, 2024 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Don't miss out. Register today at msche.org/annual-conference or head to msche.org and click on the conference link. I'll see you there.
Hey everybody, this is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience, and today we are extremely excited to announce our paid subscription service. By subscribing today, you will get exclusive early access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com and subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to Ed Up on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. This is Dr. Joe Salustio back here with another episode, and quickly realized that I could have done this in person with my guests, but I didn't figure it out until the last minute as I saw as the St. Louis Arch is a replica of the arches in his background. And of course, I'm sitting in my home office, aka unfinished basement where my wife put me now that I work from home, and my time here as Vice President of Industry Engagement at Ellucian. As you know, if you've been following my journey, 23 years in higher education, first time in ed tech, we are Ellucian's doing some great things. We have many great partners, and there's so much to do and talk about in higher education, which is why we bring so many amazing leaders to this microphone, to an EdUp microphone, and push out episodes as we march to 1,000 episodes. If you could think about that for a minute, and I know I bring this up a lot, but probably before our 5-year anniversary, which is in January 25th of 2025, we will have surpassed 1,000 episodes in 5 years. Do the math. That's a lot of episodes per year, which means that I record basically every day. And Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience, produces an episode every day. Goes in, edits it, puts out the graphics, updates. We post on LinkedIn like every day, multiple times a day, because we're getting these episodes out. And you get to choose what you want to listen to. You can listen to stories about private colleges. You can listen to stories about community colleges. You can listen to presidents talk about proprietary education institutions and the work they're doing in this space. You get to choose. And isn't that beautiful? You get to listen to what you want to. We have somebody here that's going to tell us all about the work that he's doing, and we'll categorize this episode later. But this gentleman is doing important work in health, right? Whenever we can get somebody who's doing health-related work, training doctors and psychologists, and I mean, this is important to our society. And again, I'm just so regretful we didn't do this in person. But next time, ladies and gentlemen, he's Dr. David Lenihan. He is the CEO and co-founder of Tiber Health and the past president of Ponce Health Sciences University. I got it all in. David, how are you?
Great, Joe. Great to be here. Really appreciate it.
We're honored to have you. We want to level set for our audience. I don't know what direction we should go in. You're the past president of Ponce Health Sciences University, but you're also now currently, or still, the CEO and co-founder of Tiber Health. Why don't we start there? You do a CEO and co-founder of Tiber Health. What is Tiber Health? And then how does Ponce come into this?
So Tiber Health is the parent organization that is the owner, in essence, of Ponce Health Sciences University. And in 2013, we acquired Ponce Health Sciences University. It's down in Puerto Rico, and it was doing great things, providing bilingual physicians for, across the United States. And I took over as president then, and in actually this year, 2024, I stepped down about 6 months ago. And
congratulations.
I don't know. Yeah. Congratulations. So I would say step down. I stepped up to become just CEO of the parent company, so I could have more time to expand the business and really concentrate on some of the growth parameters of what a university should be. And one of the great things that I think we've been able to do, and I know we'll get into this a lot, but across the United States, universities are struggling.
Yeah.
And numbers are down, and they're having to revamp the way they do things. We really revamped the curriculum 10 years ago. So we were ahead of the time. And the nice thing is, because we only focus on health education, training doctors, nurses, psychologists, we've really experienced large growth. We haven't seen the downturn that many university presidents have had to experience. And I think it's because we stay focused in a discipline we fully understand.
It's such a good point. In schools, this comes up a lot. You try to be all things to all people. You're saying that that's not what you're doing. You're trying to be very focused. I don't want to call it niche, because health sciences is not, but you know what you do and you put all your resources into doing it well.
If you look at healthcare in the United States, by the way, that's the largest economy on the planet. That's like $4 trillion just in the United States.
Amazing.
It is amazing. And so it's not small. So you could say, well, you don't want to be everything to everybody, but we want to focus in on what we believe society will benefit the most from. And because we have a skill set in that, we don't want to deviate from what we're good at. And that is health sciences education.
Let's talk about you. So you're president of the university. You're also simultaneously maintaining Tiber Health, right, at the same time, which is, you're obviously a glutton for punishment. So what did you learn as a university president that surprised you about operations of a university? What did you expect? What surprised you? How did you find that journey? How have you left it?
Well, I think the most surprising thing to me was how other people view me. And I grew up an academic. I never thought I would be where I'm at right now. I was professor of neuroanatomy, neurosurgery. I became dean of a medical school in New York. And so I kind of got thrust in this position because what actually happened was I'm a math guy. I like numbers. So I right when you said you did,
realizing you're just absolutely crazy at this point. You love math, and you were two jobs at the same time.
So one of the things we did was, when you look at large scale data sets, they often behave very similarly. There's companies like Splunk that really focus just on how you assess and do analytics on data. And one of the things I saw when I was dean is that students behave like large-scale data sets. They behave like equity markets. And so what I did was, every time we would ask a student a question in medical school, I calculated a value to it. The more difficult the question, the higher value, and we tracked them over time. And what we found is that gave us an ability to predict how students were going to do on national boards. And once we were able to do that, we were able to do a lot of things. We could change our admission standards, and we could start taking students that the other medical schools, the other health sciences schools didn't take. And I have this belief that if we want to solve the healthcare issues, not just in the United States, but globally, you have to start taking students from where those healthcare deficiencies are from. And a lot of times they come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. And so these analytic models allowed us to change our admission standards so that we could take students from these areas and still achieve the same outcome. Because I'm not trying to lower the results. We actually maintained the results, if not got them better. But we took students that a lot of people did not take. And the belief is that these students will go back to those communities and practice. Now, when I did this, I didn't realize at the time that there was like a $5-10 billion industry out there of people doing this. I was sitting in my office doing the coding. I was doing the QNet. I was differentiating the equations. I was doing all the math. And this group called University Ventures, Daniel Payanko, who's my partner, came to me. He's like, Dave, you realize there's a lot of people trying to do what you're doing. And I'm like, no, I'm quite happy just being dean. And he's like, why don't you come and start Tiber Health? And I'm like, okay. And that was a big jump, by the way. So to go from being an academic to now being this entrepreneur in healthcare and education, that was the biggest change for me, because everyone now sees me as some entrepreneur, some tech innovator, and I still look in the mirror and I see like a teacher.
It's fuzzy math.
It's fuzzy math. And so I think that was the biggest change to, how people see me and developing my, life around that.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? Did Ponce come first? Tiber Health came first? How did that evolve around you?
So Tiber came first. So when we got going, I'm like, I can replicate all this, but I need to have a medical school. And so medical schools, you can't just like go down to the shop and buy one.
Right.
You just start one. These things cost lots of money. And so we became the first group ever to acquire a U.S. medical school.
Wow.
People have tried, by the way. I mean, a lot of the big companies, the Laureates, the Kaplans, all those guys have tried, but they couldn't do it. I think, and I don't know the reason why, but my gut is telling me the reason why we were able to do it was because of this analytic model. We were able to show outcomes. We were able to say that we're taking different students, and we're able to really concentrate on that quality aspect of the health education, which is what society needs, by taking different students. And so we got a chance, and we've done very well. We were able to grow Ponce. We're now the largest medical school, not only in Puerto Rico, but kind of the southern part of America. And we were able to now expand that up into St. Louis. So we have a medical school now in St. Louis. And my job, since I've stepped out of that presidency role and now is CEO of the company, is now we're looking for global expansion. So we're getting ready to look in Madrid. And last week I was in Istanbul. And the great thing about health education versus law or accounting or all these other disciplines is the human body is the same regardless where you live in the world. And so the curriculum, what we deliver to the students, is pretty consistent globally. I mean, there's some nuances, here or there from the government side, but generally it's the same. And so our goal as a business is to standardize and grow health education on a global market.
So you're looking to expand outside the U.S., go find other medical schools, either launch new campuses or other businesses? Like what's expansion look like?
Yeah, so start new medical schools or health sciences schools, not just medicine, but psychology, psychiatry, things like that, nursing. But we all use the same curriculum. We all use the Ponce Health Sciences curriculum. So if you're in Istanbul on Monday, you can be in Spain on Tuesday, and St. Louis on Wednesday, and Puerto Rico, Ponce on Thursday, and it's all the same curriculum running at the same time. And that's really the scalability of the health education that I think we're very unique. No one else is doing this globally. We're the only people.
You know what I love about medical education, where you're training doctors and licensed clinicians and so on? The fact that you're still privately owned in this country, and it still exists. There are many in the academy that turn their nose down at those that are institutions that are quote unquote for profit, proprietary, whatever else. It's just exists. I worked in for-profit sector for 15 years, and I cannot tell you how wrong that view is. The people that I worked with are the most passionate. I mean, when you talked about student first, those that worked in proprietary ed, there was no research, there was no fundraising. It was only students. It was a completely different mindset and more business oriented. But what I love is you're accredited by Middle States. You've got the accreditation to be able to operate. Dr. Heather Perfetti, the president of Middle States, is a great friend of mine. They are rigorous in their standards. So you're very rigorous in their standards. I'm like, Heather, really? Very rigorous in their standards. And you're training doctors and nurses and medical professionals. It's like, can you really turn your nose down at that? No, you can't. You have to. You're breaking the model, so to speak.
Well, that was that. You asked me earlier on what was one of the biggest surprises of this is how I got viewed initially on doing this by some of the large, and I won't name any names, but some of the large nonprofit medical schools across the United States. Yep. And here's the things that I'm most proud of. Our average parental income, when you look at our students, our average parental income is $42,000 a year. The average U.S. medical school's parental income is $280,000. Some of the big schools, like the high name schools, their average parental incomes can get into the $300,000 to $400,000. We're taking students that don't have the resources that maybe my kids have and getting them to become doctors. Our board passage rates, our match rates are similar to all these schools. So we're getting students that other schools have turned down. Other schools have overlooked, and we're getting them through that health education, a high, rigorous bar to cross, and getting them into practice. And the great thing is a lot of our students, we have a large number of underrepresented minorities, a lot of students from rural America. They're going back into those communities in practice. If you look at our graduation rates, a higher propensity of our students are going into the primary care disciplines, family practice, pediatrics, things like that. And they're going back into these communities and practice. And that's what I'm most proud of is we're able to keep the tuition low. We're able to select students that come from areas of need. We're able to get them through at the exact same, if not better, rates. Last year, in fact, our match rate, which is where we place our graduates in health systems, was 98%, which was one of the highest in the United States. And those are critical factors, not only for the students we do, but for the entire U.S. healthcare system, to show that this model does work.
Tell them like it is.
I have to double down on this point because I'm so passionate about it. One of the things that you can do, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think I am. You've got a model that provides a certain level of personalized attention because of the way your curriculum is designed, because you're bringing in students who maybe were didn't get accepted somewhere. Rather than their dreams being crushed, you're finding ways to help make those students successful. And so rather than, focusing on other areas of what institutions focus on, and a lot of that is on fundraising or, there's research, you're going to have those things too. You're going, we're going to help the student get through because we know this institution can't operate unless we have the right outcomes.
Mark your calendars now for February 12th through 14th because this is where we welcome the era of the modern learner and the most anticipated higher education marketing and enrollment management conference of the year. We're headed to New Orleans for Insights EDU 2025. This year's event is packed with speakers from companies like Google, Meta, Reddit, and MIQ Digital, and schools across the country. Ready to learn how AI is transforming the marketing landscape and how to adapt your programs to the preferences and demands of the modern learner? Then Insights EDU 2025 is where you need to be. Register now at insightsedu.com.
Attention.
Registration is now open for the Middle States Commission on Higher Education 2024 Annual Conference, Protecting the Future, Champions for Higher Education, December 11th through 13, 2024 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Don't miss out. Register today at msche.org/annual-conference. We'll see you there.
Hey, everybody. This is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Are you enjoying the conversation so far? Good. I hope so. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early before anybody else? and ad-free, so you don't have to hear my voice during these ads? And did you also know that you could get extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content? That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. So go to edupexperience.com, that's EDUP experience.com, and become a subscriber today. First, you got to sign up to our free email newsletter, and then you'll find out how to become a subscriber. Again, go to edupexperience.com.
So, Joe, the thing is that medical school in and of itself is not hard. I mean, we all think it's hard. If you're to take one class at a time, it's probably...
I heard organic chemistry is pretty hard.
Well, that's undergrad. So that's undergrad.
All right.
But what makes medical school very difficult is the volume of information that's provided to you in a short period of time. And you have to be able to triage that information. And so by using our analytics, that thing we talked about at the beginning, we're able to identify students who are going to be able to triage that information more efficiently. And what we found is this. If you're a student that comes from a rural part of America, or urban core, and you're in high school, and then you go to college, you take calculus, chemistry, these courses, you're competing against students that were going to private schools where mom and dad had lots of money and had the resources. And what happens is a lot of these students get C's. It's not that they're not quite as good of a student. It's just they've never seen calculus before. They've never seen organic chemistry before. And so they get a C. And the problem is in medical school, we get thousands and thousands, thousands of applications for a limited number of slots. If you get 3 C's in your freshman year, the game's up. You're never going to be looked at by a medical school. What we do differently is by having these analytics, by having these pieces there, we're able to tease out, was that just a fluke because the student wasn't prepared? And if you can do that, then you can bring them confidently into the medical school, get them through, and get them into practice where we need our facilities. The biggest issue, I think maybe one of the biggest issues I had is getting all your faculty and the doctors and everyone that's been doing this for so long to change their way of thinking, kind of like Moneyball was for the A's, right? How do you get all these people like, well, that's just not how we did it before. How do you make that change happen? And so, that requires...
How do you make that change happen? Because, this is... Higher ed is well known for inertia, right? Faculty like to teach a certain way, like the curriculum a certain way, sometimes customize that curriculum over time, don't want to change it, don't want to update it. And then you go, hey guys, we're going to change this. And everybody goes, you know what? No confidence and, votes, or, what's he trying to do?
Right.
How do you do it?
I wish I knew exactly how to do it, but I'll give you some ideas. What initially you have to do is you got to get some buy-in. So you got to get somebody to kind of say, all right, this is a good idea, like flipping the curriculum. We flipped the curriculum. Yep. That helped us get some more data. But some of the faculty had trouble with that, so you need to bring in resources. You need to bring training in to do that. The students want this. By the way, the students are the ones kind of clamoring for this. It's sometimes the faculty that are hard. And then the last thing I started to do was all right, I need to get my senior executives to start thinking outside the box. And so we created this agreement with Cambridge University in the UK, where we take our seasoned executives, our vice presidents and deans and things like that, and we send them to Cambridge to get their MBA. And And so what we found is, all of a sudden they're getting exposed to people from all over the world and all over all types of different industries. And now they start thinking outside the box. And what happens is you start this change, and then you start bringing training in so that your executives learn how to think outside the box. And then it becomes like a snowball. Yeah. And then they're like, all right, let's try this and let's try this. And people stop being afraid to try something new. And once you can get over that hump, and by the way, that's a big, big kind of hump to get over in higher education in the United States. Once you can kind of cross that, then you can really start bringing innovative ideas into the curriculum, into your administration, into your finances, and that's how you grow.
How did this agreement with Cambridge come about? Just randomly? You knew somebody there?
So I went, originally I went to Cambridge and did my MBA.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually kind of went off the path a little bit. I went to the University of Edinburgh for my medical training, and then I went to Cambridge and did my MBA. And I kind of went to a couple of the people in the university, Kinnear Thompson, my dean of research, and I said, you would be really good at this. I think you, and I really think like some of the people that are with me are going to be college presidents somewhere along the way. And I want to, give them the skill sets to do that. And so I called Cambridge and I worked out. I said, look, and I'm going to send 10 people in the next 10 years. I want my top 10, succession planning people to get this MBA so they think outside the box. Cambridge was extremely excited about it. The dean, Cal, they were all excited about it. And so we've sent 5 people there so far.
It's amazing.
And we cover the costs, and it's been superb, because now I've got people that were saying, and I don't want to name a couple, but I'm thinking of, that were telling me 5-6 years ago, well, you can't do that, just not the way we do it, to now they're coming up with the new ideas to say, why don't we try this? And, they're all excited. And that's how you make the change. You have to be willing to invest in your people. You have to be willing to let people try new ideas, and you have to be willing to support them when, and this is something else, when it doesn't go well. You have to be there to say, hey, look, we tried it, didn't work. Let's try this.
Fail fast, right? Fail fast and try it new. Yep.
Right. But not only fail fast, but they have to have the confidence that you're going to have their back.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing, is stepping out of that presidency role where I'm not in the day-to-day operation. And I'm kind of now seeing the 30,000 foot view. I'm able to see that and give them the support they need to do that. And so luckily my board saw that that's my direction, what I should do. And that's what we've been doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think the key is you have to be willing to pony up a little bit to put your team through some new training, right? So the way you facilitate changes, you have to bring in new learning, new resources, new perspectives.
And the other thing that was really interesting on the relationship with Cambridge was the faculty are great. I'm not trying to say the faculty aren't great, but the faculty are great. But it's the students in the class. When you're sitting there in the cafeteria and you're talking to a CEO of a biotech company in Singapore, and they're like, oh, we had this issue and this, and all of a sudden my guys who are, St. Louis and Puerto Rico based are saying, this business in Kazakhstan had similar issues, and this is how they solved it. Now they're getting exposed to what real world answers are occurring. And to be honest, we don't really get that in higher education. And so now they're getting exposed to these new ideas, and that's really helped drive the business forward too.
Why were you ready to step up to CEO, entrepreneur, without the direct tie to college president? Was there a trigger? Did you have to get things in a certain way? Did you have to have the succession planning there? Was it revenue? What was the trigger that said, okay, it's time for me to really start expanding and let somebody else run the day-to-day?
So I've spoken to this, and I've written about this a couple of times for Forbes, is I wouldn't say I went willingly. And I'm used to doing everything. I want to be in the know on all these things. And eventually the board and my co-partner, Daniel Bianco, said, Dave, you really need to do this. If we want to grow the business, we need you thinking strategically on growth and not worrying about whether or not we got new chairs in the classroom. And so it wasn't easy. I wouldn't say that was an easy step to take, but I think as an entrepreneur, the most important thing you can do is be willing to take that step. You have to be willing to take that risk. And at some point, I kind of came to the decision, you know what, we're going to hire presidents for all the divisions, and I'm going to step out and reduce my number of direct reports. And it's been, I have to kind of eat my own words here a little bit, because I said, oh, this isn't going to work. It's worked really well. And so, but the thing is, again, why I send people to Cambridge, why I do all these investments is you have to be willing to take the risk and move into some elements that are somewhat uncomfortable. And it worked.
Tell us a little bit more about Ponce. You have the school in Puerto Rico, you have a school in St. Louis. How many students are we talking about? Staff, faculty? Give us an idea of the scope.
Yeah, so we have roughly just a little over 2,000 students. We're not a huge university. When we took over, it was about 600. So we've been able to really grow the school in 8 years. Staff in health education can be very difficult number to measure. We have 700 staff, but then you have maybe another 1,000 doctors that are helping out and doing things in the community. So it's kind of if people that are working involved directly or indirectly with the school are probably around 2,000 individuals that are associated with the school that way. And we have a campus in San Juan. We have a campus in Ponce. That's the main campus. We have a campus now in St. Louis, which has just started up. We're looking at building something in Madrid, in the British Virgin Islands. And so we are looking to grow.
You know, Puerto Rico is an interesting market. And I interviewed, way back when I interviewed the president of the University of Puerto Rico, and the stat hit me where like 92% of their population in Puerto Rico graduates with a high school diploma, and there's a ton of people that have doctorates. You know, it's one of the most educated areas. And you go, whoa, what does the upside look like at that campus of Puerto Rico? Probably not as high as campuses outside of Puerto Rico, right? And so you start to think about how you grow. You have to be in other markets, right?
You have to be in other markets to grow. But the reality is this is Dave Lenihan's opinion.
Yeah.
So some people are going to disagree with this. Puerto Rico is the most important state to the U.S. healthcare system there is. Almost 50% of all the bilingual physicians entering the U.S. healthcare market every year come from Puerto Rico.
That's amazing.
That most people don't know. And if you think about the demographics changing in the United States, that bilingual nature that's occurring in the southern parts of the United States, Puerto Rico plays a prominent role, especially in the health education market. And the reason for it is that if you produce a doctor who can go into a community in Texas, Oklahoma, southern Missouri, or maybe mom and dad don't speak English, but the child does, and you can communicate with them, you improve the healthcare outcomes of that community. And that is a massive, massive point. The patient satisfaction increases, the healthcare outcomes increase, and Puerto Rico plays that pivotal role for the United States in that bilingual education.
Do you think about expanding outside of higher ed, like ed tech, technology, or is it campuses? Is it,
No. So that's the beauty is the analytics that we created. So this is the other.
You got to have this trademarked or it's proprietary.
Yeah.
You want to sell it.
Yeah. So we're actually in the process of doing that. We've had a few, not necessarily medical schools, but other physician assistants, dental, veterinary schools, because the analytics remain the same as long as you have an outcome exam. You have some exam you have to pass to practice. And what was interesting when I created this, so I wrote the equations. In essence, what it is we added these numbers together and I built a regression formula, polynomial, 7th-degree polynomial.
I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
Right. And so we did a regression on it. But now we have a whole department that does AI, machine learning, QNets, neural nets. I have no idea what the heck they do. They come in and tell me, I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Good idea. Good job. Well done. And so the technologies kind of surpassed me, but the analytics, using the data to help you identify what you can use for admissions, outcomes, to tailor the curriculum to the individual, that data becomes very valuable. And we actually believe that while on campus physical assets are important to grow, we actually believe the data is eventually going to become the real value of the company.
As we move to a more digitized world, how do you find students in the medical field wanting things, wanting some online, more online, less online? Do you have standards where you say, look, this is you're going to be a doctor, you need to be in with people, and you have how is the education changing or not changing for medical professionals?
Well, I think you got two groups here. You got the students who want to bring in the technology because that's what they've grown up with. They're looking on their phone, they can kind of Google the stuff. And then you get the faculty who are saying, well, you need to memorize this stuff. And I kind of sit in the middle here because I'm like, why do they have to memorize the stuff when they can go grab their phone and look up the data? What we need to do is teach them to think. How do they assess this data? How can they come up with the differential diagnosis? How can they make sure that the patient is getting the best quality of care? Just because they can memorize the Krebs cycle, which is how your body produces energy, doesn't mean they're going to become a good doctor. What means they're going to become a good doctor is, can they communicate with the patient? Can they understand is their empathy associated with it? And can they make reasonable differential diagnosis on what's actually a matter with the patient and provide some level of care to it? And so I think we need to sit in the middle where the students have to become a little bit more aware of how the patients interact. They all want to stick on their phones, so they need to become a little bit more personable. The faculty need to become a little bit eased on their forcefulness that the student must learn this piece of information. And I think that's what we're trying to do, is how do you merge those two elements to produce a better doctor?
I mean, it happens in K-12 still. I mean, bad example, but my 7 to my 10-year-old, now she's 5th grade math. She's doing a problem. She's doing long form division, and she goes, what's 9 times 7? I can't remember. Alexa, what's 9 times 7? Now she's got most of the long division done, but she needs one last piece. And I go, you know what? I don't think that's a big deal, because she's using the tools available to you. And how do you implement those tools to make learning more effective, not keep it out? Because the students will use it anyway. They just won't tell you.
So I remember one of the biggest fights I got into with faculty. I remember when I was a faculty member, I'm going to the faculty senate. I get promoted to dean, and I go to the faculty senate, and they kick me out. They're like, you can no longer be here. You're the man. I'm like, wait a second. But one of the biggest
you're going to influence to the wrong decision.
That's right. But I remember the one fight that I got in was the faculty didn't want the students to use Wikipedia. And I'm like, why not? This is a resource. And I had this Conrad Fisher as one of the professors at Toro. And we got into this discussion. Conrad was on my side. And so we were like, why not let the students use every resource that is available to them to come to the correct answer? And it took a decade for faculty to kind of come around to that thought process. But I think generally now, most faculty in health education is comfortable with the students using technology to come up with an answer.
Tell us what else you want to say about Ponce, Tiber Health. What else do you want to say? Open mic for you, because we want to have you back on a mini episode for our subscribers. So I'm saving one of my best questions for last. But what else do you want to say about your organizations and what you have for the future?
I think with respect to not only just health education, but global education, is our universities need to remember that we're leaders. We need to kind of show by example. We just can't rest on what we've done in the past. And we need to innovate. And I think the universities that can do this, that can bring students from different backgrounds in, get them educated to the same level, if not higher, than all their peers, and the ones that are going to bring in new ideas from around the world are the ones that are going to be here in 10 years. I think you're seeing a rapid change in higher education, especially. And it's like normal business. Those who can do will succeed.
So is anything else to add what you see for the future of health education?
I think for the future of the health education is it's becoming harder for the students. And this is going to go against conventional wisdom. Everyone says all the students are like...
You do that a lot, though, David. You go against conventional wisdom.
Wait, I get this all the time.
Entrepreneur.
That's right. But you get these stories. I see it in the media all the time. The students aren't going to class. They're complaining. And while we see that, they also have a lot more stuff to learn. Our knowledge base has expanded massively in the last 10 years, especially with the internet. And so the students have to process a lot more information than I did 30 years ago, 40 years ago when I was in school. And we have to recognize that. We have to recognize that every year that goes on, there's more information students need to learn, and we can't make them learn everything. We have to make sure that we teach them how to think. And I think that when you asked just a few seconds ago, the thing I'm most excited about of what we do as a university is we take students that other schools might not take. We get them through using these technologies, using these skill sets, and they have a much higher preponderance to go into areas of need and practice. And as a mission, yeah, we make money. That's great. We're, even the for-profits, the non-for-profits, they all got to make money. They got to pay payroll. We're the same as that. But when you look at what you produce and where they go and the impact they have on the rest of society, I think that's the most excited part of what I do day to day and why I get up and go to work.
Well, there you have it, everybody. We're going to bring Dr. Lenihan back for a subscriber-only episode, but I'm going to outro him here. It's been incredible to talk with you, David. Ladies and gentlemen, he's your guest today. He's Dr. David Lenihan. He's CEO and co-founder of Tiber Health and the past president of Ponce Health Sciences University. You better keep an eye on them. Sounds like big things are happening. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just ed-upped.
Higher ed leaders, ready to level up your marketing and enrollment strategy? Join us at Insights EDU February 12th through 14th in New Orleans. The ultimate higher education marketing and enrollment management conference is here. Take advantage of early bird prices until December 12th. Register now at insightsedu.com. Welcome to the era of the modern learner.
Attention.
Registration is now open for the Middle States Commission on Higher Education 2024 Annual Conference, Protecting the Future, Champions for Higher Education, December 11th through 13th, 2024 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Don't miss out. Register today at msche.org/annual-conference or head to msche.org and click on the conference link. I'll see you there.
Hey, everybody. This is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Did you enjoy that conversation? I hope you did. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early on and ad-free? And you can also hear extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. Did you know that? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com to subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, that's edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com.